Ever since I've switched to Schaeffer's oil, I've never had a reason to even try anything else. And that's one thing that I'm proud about, is the fact that I can't tell you how good something else is, because I know how good Schaeffer's oil is. My engine builders, Tony and Glenn Clements, have said about the oil we run. They've told us that out of all the motors that they get and rebuild every year, ours looks the best, and a lot of that has to do with the oil that we run. One of the things that I love about Schaeffer's oil is the fact that all of their reps are out in the field and at the racetracks with us, seeing what all the racers need, seeing what ideas we have or anything that we can improve on. And you just can't beat the customer service of having a rep for, you know, one of the main components of our race team, whether it's at our engine oil, transmission fluid, rear end oil. Having somebody there that represents that brand and also gives us some support and also the knowledge that we need to be making the right calls and just helping us out with our entire racing program. It means a lot to our race team to have that. My name's Chris Ferguson, and I drive the number 22 dirt late model. I've been using Schaeffer's oil racing products since 2009. I absolutely have no doubt that we're using the best products that is possible for dirt late model racing.
Hello and welcome to the Schaeffer's IndyCar series. This is round number 4 from Daytona International Speedway. For Race First, I'm Matt Houston, joined by Gary Gotso in the booth here tonight. Once again, how's it going there, Gary?
Oh man, it is so good to be here. It's so good to be calling an IndyCar race with you, and it's so good to be here, part of the Schaeffer gang and part of the Reddit gang, and watching this great lineup tonight. We have, let's see, we got over 20 cars here. This is going to be really exciting.
Yeah, this is our first race for this series that I know that me and you have broadcast, or we've been part of races from Daytona here, but this is the first that they've run of this track in this series. We've got some familiar names at the top. We've got some new names also at the top. So we've got our championship leader in P2. We've got our winner from Road America in P1 at the moment, provisional pole. 2 minutes to go here. We've got our champion from the past 2 seasons, had a little bit of a struggle so far this season, and I believe he's sitting, I can bring that up, about 20th in points right now, is Caleb Bency. He did miss a race. We do have a drop race this season, so 1 out of the 12 races that we're going to run. And contrary to what this points graphic says, we're here at Daytona International Speedway. Next race, we're going to be on July 7th. We're going to be at Indianapolis Motor Speedway for the Indianapolis 300.
Oh yeah. Seems to be a place where Race First has been dominating lately.
Well, we'll see. Maybe we'll have Apex Sage there. We might have a Sunset Arctic there, or anybody else that's going to have a good chance here.
Oh yeah, I mean, give yourself another 15 more wins, and then you can just buy the track, just like Penske did.
That is right.
Buy the code for Indianapolis. It now belongs to me.
I don't know if he didn't make his money quite here. Like, you know, he made his money elsewhere. That's the way to do it, right?
Yeah.
There's that saying about the way to become a millionaire is to start as a billionaire, something like that in racing. Kind of a cliche term. As we have Caleb Bency go to the top of the board, pulls it into the pits as well, so he's done. 15-minute qualifying here.
So yeah, that 130 time equates to 140.807 miles per hour. So there is very little that these guys are off the accelerator here. Most of the time they're on at 100%.
Yeah, we might have some EOLs here tonight as well. I'm gonna look. I know that Shane Coogan has an EOL from Pocono. Let's see. There was one other driver that did pull that up. It looks like it is. Actually, it's not. Oh, okay. Never mind. It is. Jasper will have an EOL at the start of this race. Not the best place to be starting at the back, but we've got 40 laps here tonight.
This is one road course that you can start in the back and keep yourself in contention with the draft.
Yeah, that's true.
And you said it's Watson and Shane Coogan.
Jasper and Shane Coogan.
Oh, Jasper and Shane Coogan. Okay. Both those guys have been in this league for a couple seasons now. They should be able to work their way up, either through strategic passing or just waiting for other people to make mistakes and pass them while they're in the pits.
That's right. Again, tire strategy is a big thing here. Some of the drivers were telling me earlier that it did seem like the red tires were going to go off. My Windows decided to make a beep.
The only time you really need the red tires really is in that infield portion. I think they could probably survive with worn red tires going through the bus stop chicane on the backstretch. But that infield portion, especially the areas where you're off the throttle and getting 100% back on the throttle, such as coming out of the horseshoe curve, that's probably where you're going to find the back end coming around on you on a pair of worn alternates.
Yeah, I think that turn 6 when they're coming on to the oval, when they're returning to the oval, that is another place that you can really easily loop it around.
Oh yeah, the exit of the Western Horseshoe, yeah. Which, if you ever done the sports car race here, it has the perpetual caution flag flying there.
Yes, it does. Between all the GT cars and the prototypes, there's a lot of action over there in that corner. There was some discussion in the chat by the drivers about what the rules for the apron were going to be here tonight. Or actually, well, tonight for us, but the actual race, I don't know if you know this, Gary, but the race is starting at sunrise. So it's not going to get darker, it's going to get lighter and warmer in this race. I don't know where I was going with that particular thought, but...
so they're going to be on the rules of the apron?
Yeah, that's right. So no apron is basically the rule.
Okay, fair enough. Looks like they're starting them on the backstretch for the short formation lap.
Well, I guess we better start our grid then. I'll get that pulled up. So in P1, our Road America winner there in Isaac Morris, starting P1. Caleb Bensey in P2. Dakota DeMade in P3. Rhett Nichols there with a good qualifying run in P4. We've got... Pardon me. Hannes Schlegel in P5, Chris Albee in P6. And we've got Steven Ritters in P7. Christian Jasper P8. Lucas Santos P9. Shane Coogan P10. Andrew Spates P11. Michael Holder P12. We've got Kresge, our admin there, in P13. James Watson, our turbo champion, in P14. Scott Wheeler, P15. Matt Cosgrove, P16. Alex Simkowski, P17. Antonio Benini, P18. And rounding out the field, we've got Isidro in 19th. Drew White, Caleb Morrissey. He had a podium finish there at Pocono. Pete Donchak and Joseph DeCiro in rounding out the field. 23 cars here tonight, and we're going to have a short pace lap here. We've got the Porsche pace car here tonight. I'm glad I always like when they choose that over one of the old, the Chevy Silverado or whatever it might be, or the Camaro.
Or the very generic iRacing pace car sedan.
Yes, the one that is waiting for a sponsor, basically.
Someone to license it, yeah.
That's right, yeah. So we'll be heading for 40 laps here tonight.
Any idea what the strategy on the pit stops is? Just one stop?
I think it's going to be two-stopper.
Okay.
And... trying to remember here. I believe... yeah, I think all the races are going to be two stoppers on the road courses here. They've extended the races from the previous season. I think, for instance, we ran 30 laps. I think that was still a two-stopper at Road America, but we ran 30 laps last season, whereas we ran 35 or 40 this season. We're coming down to it, though. So the drivers were mentioning with this sunrise start here that they would be driving into the sun in a pretty substantial part of the race. So we'll have to see how that affects them, particularly on this first lap here. Uh-oh,
Yeah,
we got Isaac on the apron.
probably trying to save some fuel there. That is a tactic that I've seen used before.
Yep. Who's missing here tonight, as we're about to go green, is Gavin Sanders, one of our championship contenders. As Isaac pulls us down, and we have our green flag.
Caleb quickly back in line underneath the gearbox there of Isaac. Albie with the bonsai run on the outside going into
that was getting close to, I think, Holler, but so far so good. Rhett Nichols in the anime car, one of them anyway, goes into P3.
That car tends to make a lot of appearances in series.
It does. It is a popular one.
That's a shame.
As Holler looks in. Oh, we've got. It is our.
He's
Nichols
off.
off.
And he has no damage, so he just needs to recover. Unfortunately, it's just a lot of lost track position.
That's right.
Current showing Dakota and Luke Santos on push to pass at the moment. In fact, Luke has used already push to pass twice.
Looks like Dakota's using it defensively over Holler in P4 as our leader navigates through the bus stop chicane for the first time. And that will be a lap. We're going to be running 40 of them, about an hour race we would expect.
A couple cars on the apron coming through turn 4 oval turn 4. Not sure what happened there.
Could be if they got a slowdown at the bus stop. Maybe they were trying to get out of the way. That's just a guess. Race control not very responsive when we want to know these kind of things in iRacing.
So I definitely understand what these guys are going through. I've been in 2 races before that have been set in the morning or a late afternoon sun where it's setting in your face. You see that typically if you do a morning race at Legacy Phoenix, going into turns 3 and 4, very hard to see. And an evening race with the sun setting at Homestead coming out of turn 4 or going into turn 4, also very hard to see. So these guys are going to be fighting the sun all race long because I don't think they have any accelerators going on for this one. So they're going to be fighting it all hour long at least.
Yeah, I think we're just running at the normal speed. We have some options for that kind of thing in iRacing, that the sun can go at a faster speed in the sky, but not here today. Looking through the field, so we've got, this is kind of, as you mentioned, I think, briefly in the pre-race, that you're going to get a group of cars here that are kind of draft locked with one another. And it's, you want to hold on to those drafts, as Schlegel looking on the outside of Albie across the front straightaway. But we've got cars kind of half second from one another through the field here.
That time by Isaac Morris, purple lap, 131.538, as you would expect the leader to be doing right now.
One thing I was also talking with the drivers about is you'll notice on the front wing of these cars, they have the single element front wing rather than the double element that you might see at a lot of the road courses. So really trimmed out, a little bit slower in the infield section, but faster on the straightaways. You have to look closely at those front wings to notice really that, though.
First, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh, all pretty close together on the racetrack right there. All about 3 seconds apart. Going back to 8th place is about 4 seconds behind now.
Yeah, just seeing everybody's like about a half second, but not nobody's like making an attempt at a pass other than we saw, I think it was Schlegel. In the back of the pack.
Go ahead.
Shane Coogan is up to 15th position as he nearly ran into the back of Bonini. He's got Spates right behind him, and one of our other drivers, Jasper, who also had that into the line penalty at the start of the race. So those guys coming back up through the field early on here in Daytona.
I like Shane. He kind of races with a controlled aggression. And you can definitely race hard with him and not pretty much end up in the fence like some other drivers you might race hard with in some other leagues, which we shall not name. But it looks like Caleb is definitely keeping within contact of Isaac. Isaac did stretch out to 1.3, but now it's down back to under a second. Caleb is reeling him back in.
Yeah, I'm going to go on board with Caleb here and see how this looks. But going back to Shane for a moment, and I was talking to him because I race with him in multiple leagues, but and of course we were broadcasting last week with him, but he's got a good knack for when he has a damaged car. Talking at Pocono last week, he was in the first lap crash, but he brought it to nearly to the front of the field. I think he finished 5th in that race, but he has a knack for driving with a damaged car and making it work. And he's, like you said, he's has a lot of aggression, can fight through that car. Dakota.
Looks like Caleb is losing time again, and he lost it going into and out of the bus stop chicane of all places.
Yeah, and I was going to mention Dakota there, gaining a lot of ground on Caleb. So I think Caleb had a little bit of an issue through that bus stop chicane there.
Steven Ritter's purple 131.477.
So if you notice Dakota's livery here, he's running a special one here tonight. This is you're going to find this one pretty ugly there. He's running half and half. This is the Voltic pistol on one side and the Echo Blade car on the other side. This is as Holler inside in the horseshoe. And Holler's going to make that work, but Dakota's going to have a really good chance to get him back. Let's go on board with him. So going back to that's a little bit of a throwback. The idea comes from one of the early BAR Honda in Formula One, I believe about 1999. They wanted to run 2 different cars, but that's against the rules over in 2 different liveries, one on each car. So instead, it was like a 1-800-COLLECT car or something like that, and then the other one was the Lucky Strikes, cigarette car. So with Holler's really moving right now. Oh, he's on the black tires, is what he's on. So those tires are coming in to, okay. So looking at tires. Everybody in the top 7 is on the red tires, but Holler making a move now is the only one on the black tires. Black tires will last longer.
Yeah, he is up to P2 now, so he has made that move, and he is now setting sail for Isaac.
That is two passes in a lap here.
Holler wide on turn 1. Said Dakota should name his car. Hopefully, he doesn't get put in the wall right here.
Yeah, I was
really close across the nose. It should name it either Two-Face or Harvey. Harvey Dent was the Two-Face villain in Batman.
That's
kind of what his character looked like. He got scarred on one side of his face, and the other side of his face was normal. But what we can't have is Dakota running around with a coin flipping heads or tails if I'm going to pass here or not.
And Dakota's not a villain either, so.
Well, depending on who you talk to.
Maybe this is true. I told Dakota I might go there today, but I'm going to be nice. After a particular event in a race last night there. But anyway, Holler back. He dropped that position. He's maintaining that podium position. sets his sights back on Caleb to try to make that move once again. I believe this Holler is running this NASA car. I believe we've got a couple cars that are running a NASA livery. At least in previous races, I've seen it.
I tell you guys, if you need your own livery painted, I know a certain driver that happens to be P4 that will happily be able to paint your car for you. It's going to cost you a little money, but it'll be unique to you.
That's right. Looking for any other... Okay, Shane Coogan battling with Simkowski back in
12th and
P12.
13th.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Simkowski...
Caleb Morrissey, I'm showing in the pits as well as well. I'm not sure if that's because of damage or whatnot.
Yeah, he looks good. Well, you know, they do have one fast repair here, so they don't do fast repairs on the ovals, but they do have fast repairs here. But Simkowski had had a podium in the first race, and I was kind of asking him, you know, how are you feeling when we get to the road courses? And that was going to be a learning experience for him. So, you know, he's doing well out here. He's running that Elio Castroneves car from B500.
Michael Holler is using that push to pass button like it's going out of style. He now has 5 pushes left, only out of 7 laps out of 40 right now.
Yeah, and I see
a couple of those later from the race.
I see Caleb and Isaac have not used a single push to pass, if my information is correct anyway. And with that said, Caleb has kind of gapped out from Bowler there.
Yeah, normally, because I'm friends with Isaac, a lot of us are friends with Isaac and from other leagues and whatnot.
Yeah.
You know, when you do something on the road course, he'll always ask you, was that with or without push to pass? And he always stressed to me, I'm still learning on road courses, but always I just learned from him. It doesn't do you any good. Whatever time that I give you and I'm using the push to pass button, it's no good. It's just artificially deflated or inflated, depending on how you want to look at the time. It's what you do without the push to pass is what really matters, because the only time you can really use push to pass is you're not going to be doing your optimal lap anyways. You're going to be fighting someone on the racetrack. So it really doesn't matter. Your optimal lap that you could do is the one that's without push to pass or 100% natural.
That's exactly right. Isaac used to have something, I'm not sure what software he was running, but it would tell him when other people were using push to passes. I think this is in practice. And we were in a practice session one time, and somebody had used like 100 push to passes during that practice. So we're like, that particular lap, I don't really think we can count on what that guy's laps are.
Isaac out to about a 1.5 seconds. Caleb's keeping close.
Yeah, it's kind of rubber banding. I was going to say boomerang, but that's not the term I meant. Rubber banding. It's like he builds it up a little bit as Albie thought about going inside of DeMade. Still probably thinking about it, but just not quite able to get it working. As Holler going wide in turn 1 once again.
Oh, we have a car that just came out of the pits, right in front of our leader.
Schlegel into the barrier pretty hard. That's going to put him... He's going to have to tow this thing back. Who was that in front of... Oh, that's Morrissey?
Caleb Morrissey in the 666.
Yep.
You know how I feel about superstitions in auto racing.
Oh, we got another. Is that we've got? Oh boy, this is Albie. Schlegel and him might have come together. Albie's got some really bad luck from last season, if you remember. Let's see what happened here. Nope, this is a different car. This is another NASA car here. Who is this? Oh yeah, Holler. Okay, Holler hits Albie in the rear, and actually Dakota goes off as well, but Dakota I don't think has any damage. Dakota gets it back going again. Yeah, that was a big punterino there from Holler. So let's get back to live pictures.
We had a very animated radio discussion over that. I heard on the driver's net. So I shan't repeat everything that was said, but basically go back and relearn how to brake. I think is the gist of it.
I see. Between
Oh, wide! Look at the space that
yeah, I see that.
Caleb just made up. Yeah,
Morris and yeah, these tires have fallen completely off the cliff. I mean, honestly, they fell off the cliff several laps ago when we saw Holler really up there, but
he shaved a second off just that little cushion.
could have been that lap car, but did get around him.
Showing Dakota in the pits.
Yeah, I think we've got from Kresge, Schlegel, Albee, Holler in the pits. Dakota, I don't really think had damage, but you know he opted to go there.
I think some people are wanting to get these tires off. So if you're pitting at lap 10 of a 40-lap race, are they just going to go alt primes the rest of the way, or alt prime and then alts again?
I don't think they're going to be able to make the rest of the race pitting this early. I think this is a two-stopper for sure if you're pitting this early.
And again, Caleb and Isaac very close together, and Caleb has closed that margin, not used a single push to pass.
Yeah, he's holding on to those for when he really needs them. As he's thinking about going outside.
Side by side here, coming into turn one.
Yeah, I think Caleb. So Caleb's had an unfortunate season so far. So he's just trying to get this thing corrected, and so he can have a good run in the second half of the season here, heading into Indianapolis. Yeah, so Dakota's pit stop was kind of a normal speed. Santos has also pit. It was an 8.4 second pit stop, so that's a pretty good time. As I see, I think Caleb's going to have another go here with Isaac. Side by side they go, heading towards the bus stop. I don't think that's going to be really on. Going on board with Caleb, probably a 1X there. Getting 2 tires into the grass. Got to be careful at that bus stop chicane to not get a slowdown. It's really easy to get one.
Yeah. Flip off too much of that yellow area.
Yep.
Side by side again, coming into the tri-oval. Dead heat. Caleb gets credit for that lap.
Now one might say he's planning, if he happens to be P2 and that final lap, he might be able to win it from that kind of position, getting a really good run there. But I think Isaac's going to, if that did happen, he's going to guard that a little bit more and weave a little bit.
And probably use push to pass.
Yeah, and probably, because they have tons of push to pass left.
I tell you what, last night, if anyone on Race First was watching the Formula Indy series from Watkins Glen, there was some really great side-by-side action going through the bus stop chicane there. I think this bus stop chicane, excuse me, and my tongue is getting tied up. I think this chicane here is a little bit smaller than the one at Watkins Glen, not allowing you to go side-by-side, not at least in these cars, maybe in the sports cars and the prototypes.
Yeah,
but I don't think you're going to see that type of action in the bus stop here versus what we saw at Watkins Glen last night.
No, I think it's all into turn one and the interior, the interior road course corners. Those are the places that you can make passes. Caleb is on push to pass here, the first time he's using it. Go on board with him.
Yeah, he's got to run here, and I think he's going to take advantage of it. Here he goes, outside into the tri-oval. Going to get this lap. But Isaac has the preferred line in the turn 1 and 2 there.
Yep. Little twitch by Caleb there. So that gap back to Ritter's in P3 is about 4.5 seconds at this point.
Got a good battle for 6 and 7, yeah.
Yeah, Shane Coogan up to 6th. Some of that's some pit strategy now that's starting to develop here. We've got back Santos in P10 has pit, and then from 13th position, everybody back there has pit as well. So Shane making the decision from third and on, they're going long with their black tires early in this race. That's the decision they made. Shane's under pressure from, is that Huller? Yeah, it's Huller, who's not even for position there. Heading back up to the lead, though. Just Caleb in that tow.
Santos and Simkowski were in a bit of a battle there, and looks like Santos has pulled away.
Last of the cars that has not pit is 12th place. We've got Drew White running the Rainbow Warrior DuPont livery. That actually is a Dakota paint as well, as Dakota goes around him for that 12th position.
Got a bit of battle starting to form here at the tail end of the top 10 between Simkowski and Bonini.
Yeah, I see that it's coming down. We've got a big gap to Santos because he has pit. And he's on black tires. Yeah, I think with this signal element front wing that I was mentioning, I feel like it's maybe more difficult to make a pass here just because that front wing's lower downforce, lower drag. So you're not seeing the car punch as much of a hole in the air as you might see in some other races here.
Mm-hmm.
Where you get that big toe off of these cars. Is that they seem to get side by side, but then it kind of stalls out.
Yeah,
that's what I'm seeing so far here. As we have Caleb into the pits, Isaac stays out. So our P2 car for the round of pit stops into the pits. This is one of those places that has a tough pit lane to not accidentally speed on, just because you kind of don't have as many reference points.
Mm-hmm.
Coming into the pits.
Well, and pit out's like threading the needle through a.
So one thing to note,
so
they have updated this at some point, probably since you ran it. They the speed limit is where this cone. You can see it there. It's not till the exit, way out there. They've moved it. It used to be right at the exit where the oval cars would leave the pits.
Yeah,
and you could run into the wall out there. As we have a car. Caleb gets around him. I think that might have been Morrissey. Yeah, I think that was Morrissey. Yes, it was. But yeah, it's you can still mess up, but you have to be under that speed limit now, and you kind of feel like let me go, and you don't want to speed on that exit.
Well, Isaac through the bus stop, so he's coming to make the dive to pit road here real soon. If it's going to make his stop now, I think he is. Let's see what's happening.
Yeah,
nope,
we'll see.
Not.
No, he's not. He's
there. He is.
There he is. Really late.
He made a late one. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is going to be really interesting where he comes out versus Caleb here. Caleb did have a slow stop, 10 seconds it says. So
Caleb is through the bus stop. He is into NASCAR turn 3. And if you watch the leader, I'll call out the
push to pass.
He's a NASCAR turn 4.
Isaac did use one push to pass on that last lap there. He was trying to make a good in lap.
He is past pit in, coming to the quad oval now. Tri-oval, excuse me. Into turn 1, and I think that's Isaac just exiting right in front of him. Ooh, it's going to be close.
It is going to be close.
Not going to be much of a gap gained here.
But Caleb
Virtually
does
nothing.
have the warmer tires. But I think that's enough room for Morris to get his tires up to temperature. And with that, Isaac's had a slower pit stop as well. He also had a 10.1 second pit stop, as did Ritter's in P3, 10.3.
Yeah, I didn't stop to see if maybe he possibly slid through his stall a little bit or something.
Yeah, there's also the RNG number gods also has effect there, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That for our viewers that don't know what I mean, there's some randomness to the pit speed to give some variability. But when I say RNG, that's a random number generator. That's kind of in computers, that's how you get random numbers, like in a role-playing game or something. So with that, though, Caleb still is in draft range from with Isaac there. As a Donchak, that might be an issue there, as he goes a little... Okay, he lets him go. But yeah, that could have been really close there. That was not what Caleb wanted to see anyway. Biggest mover in this race, though.
I'm sorry about that. I mean, Donchak, that's one of the unfortunate things about just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. He's normally a pretty clean guy and would get out of the way for the leaders if there was a safe place to do it. And when you're right there, coming in the infield turn 1, turn 2, right to the snake S area, you really don't have very many places to dive and hide. So it was just a patience on Caleb's part by not running him over and waiting for his time to pass.
That's right. What I was about to say there was a Sidro who has stopped. So he is on the same strategy as everybody else at this point. Has moved up 15 positions in this race. He started 19th, he's in 4th. So he's just kind of running his own race and making positions here. He's ran the black tire strategy, primary tires, and now he's on the reds. Kind of in his no man's land, though. He's about 7 seconds back from P3 and then 10 seconds ahead of P5. Good battle here between P7 and P8. That's Bates and Coogan. Bates on push to pass defensively.
Only 5 uses of that left and not quite at a halfway point.
Looks like Shane's been conserving his. He's got 9 left.
Yep. A bit of a train there, all the way through Watson back to Coogan. That's all for position right there.
Yeah, so I think this is kind of that place.
Yeah.
Unless something happens up at the front, and I see that Caleb has dropped back a second and a half to Morris up there.
The battle's here, man. Let's keep it here.
Shane's trying to make it go on the outside. Oh, he gets it out into the grass a little bit. Did not work. At the International Horseshoe, that's where he did that. Yeah, this is our action zone right here.
Yeah, Santos drove it deep into the Western Horseshoe. Looks like he had got a little loose on the backside, had to gather that back up, and that's allowing right now Santos to get that, or that's like Spates now. Is that Spates? Yeah, Spates to get the run on him and pass him, getting back on the goal.
Santos had a little issue. You know, we were talking about that earlier, where that was one of those places that you can get a little bit of tire spin coming out of that corner, and Santos looked like he had some issue with acceleration there. Allowed Spates to get around there.
Spates on push to pass now.
He's using him. He's using him like he's got him. Well, don't they say that the push to pass is a little bit like a debit card?
Oh, it's like the old saying goes, smoke them if you got them, but
Yeah.
they're not like rollover minutes where you can use what you don't have next week.
Yeah.
And Space pulls off that pass on the
Yeah,
outside.
on the outside over Watson
Nice.
there, our turbo champion. So Spates only got 3. He's got, 21 laps left in this race. He has 3 push to pass left. So
sounds like we got the leader coming up to some lap traffic.
I think that Caleb's not liking these red tire or black tires as much, or he had an issue with the lapped car. I think that is Drew White. Might have picked him up a little bit.
Spates on push to pass again.
Wow. This is just defensive, too. Meanwhile, Watson...
Everybody in that group, Watson, Santos is on that as well. Coogan's on it as well.
Coogan's going to have a move here. Side by side. Oh, he made it work on the outside into the bus stop. That took some...
Yeah, that's pretty ballsy because you can't really see the inside too well on that one. You just kind of got to hope that driver...
Exactly, yeah.
They conceded the lap like you thought they conceded the lap. And if that driver does not want to concede the lap and wants to fight, then he is right into the point where you're going to turn.
And I see Santos kind of looks like he's got a good run back there, too. But it looks like Shane is going to maintain that. Oh, he goes a little bit wide. See if Santos tries to throw it up the inside into that horseshoe. He does. Santos' nose on that car has that little bit of what team is that?
Yeah, it's the All-American Racers
yeah,
for Greece.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the Eagle, yeah.
Exactly.
Last time we saw that driving that, it was P.J. Jones and Juan Manuel Fangio III or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess the last time we saw driving that one. And the Castrol sponsorship.
I think they ran okay, I see both Bensi and Isaac's really pulled off about 3 seconds up there, but I was going to say I think they were running like were they running an Eagle chassis, or was it like a...
Yeah, I think he developed his own at first.
Yeah.
And then much like, because we were talking about this earlier today,
yeah.
the Parthenon of failed chassis, I think it got put on the heap right next to the latest two, the last two Penske chassis before Penske says, I'm just going to buy Renard.
Yeah, exactly. In like 99, 2000 sometime.
Yep. Santos on the outside of Coogan going through NASCAR turn 4.
Now he's going to try this move that Coogan tried to pull on him. I think Coogan has the preferred line, though. We'll see, though.
Neither on push to pass. Oh, and there's Kresge coming out of the pits right behind them.
Okay.
Also, I think wasn't the All-American Racers, weren't they one of the first Toyota factory teams?
That I'm not 100% sure about.
I know they had Toyota for power, and that was one of the things that kind of hampered them early on. And much like the people that jumped on the early Honda bandwagon and failed, Bobby Rahal.
Yeah, Bobby Rahal.
Those that stuck with it eventually were rewarded, but I don't think Gurney's All-American Racers were one of those.
So, at the front, it's just a growing gap between Morris and Bensi. So we're keeping an eye on, we got about a half second between Watson and Spates. Spates has used up, Spates in that Aero car that we're looking at right now. Watson in this Lionel racing car. He's got 7 push to pass left to Spates 2. So, kind of the favored position there, even though you're behind, is Watson with the extra pushes. As we are about we're just a little bit over halfway through this race. I think we still have 1 pit stop to go for just about everybody out here.
Yeah. So, and of course, in real life, the IndyCars don't run here. They've ran here as whoa, Spates, Santos going wide on the going into turn one, losing some time.
Watson has the position.
Losing some time to Coogan there. The IndyCar did use the old chassis here for some pre-season testing back in 2006 and 2007, and they used the moto course. But before that, the last time the IndyCars were here in an official capacity was 1959 for a USAC IndyCar race. It was actually an IndyCar race. It was the Daytona 100, and it would have been the second race in the facility's history right after the inaugural Daytona 500. Interesting thing, I mean, there were some big names in that particular race. You had the Rathman brothers, AJ Foyt was in the race. You had the oldest of the Unser brothers was one of the drivers that failed to qualify. But a lot of historical tie-ins for some of the drivers in that particular race that nearly no one knows anything about. But then you find out, oh, they raced IndyCars, and oh, they raced the IndyCar race at Daytona. One of the names that was on the starting grid, and he started fifth in the race. His name is Elmer George, and so if the George name sounds familiar to you in IndyCar racing, that is Tony George's dad, and that is also Ed Carpenter's grandfather. Or step-grandfather.
Step-grandfather, yes.
Yeah, so yeah, that was Elmer George. That's a tie in there. Also, one of the drivers that did not qualify for this race, but had offspring that came back later and did very well at this track, the name Bob Said. This is Boris Said's father. And of course, we know Boris Said came back and has won a couple of sports car races here on the sports car course. But he was part of that crew of IndyCar drivers in the first race here. So the first race, they got up to 170 miles per hour. And that, before they ever saw 170 miles per hour in Indy, I think was another 15 years. So the speeds for these cars were way beyond their time for what was going on. Yeah, for the safety measures. And unfortunately, one of the drivers did die in the race, and that was George Amick. But that's really not the reason why they chose not to come back. The reason they chose to come back was poor attendance and really the drivers overall said this track's really not ready for Indy cars, and so they all agreed for safety reasons not to come back. But because of that, that gave birth to a whole other new race that people don't know about. Because at the time, France already said that you guys are coming back July 4th weekend, and I've sold tickets. What am I going to do? Well, IndyCar said, well, forget it. It's on you. We're not coming back. So guess what? That is the birth of the Firecracker 400 on the NASCAR schedule. He needed somebody to fill that date, so he brings his own series in to fill the date, and voila, there's the birth of the Firecracker. And also, during that IndyCar weekend, that was the first ever sports car race on the sports car oval that they built in the infield. So, of course, we know that led into later the Daytona 24. So a lot of important things happened around the very first IndyCar race here.
And that Daytona 24 has had like several different sanctioning bodies over the years have run that race. Like right now it's IMSA, but before that it was Grand Am, and then I think the ACO might have run it at one point in time. I don't know who else it would have been. But yeah, that was a good history lesson. I knew where you're going. I think was it Jerry Unser was the one that you were probably saying, the eldest of the Unsers? Yeah. Yep,
Jerry failed to qualify in a practice crash. He was injured. Also, they said, like I said, the Rathman brothers, both of them were on the sat on the front row. Dick Rathman had the pole. Roger Ward qualified third. Eddie Sachs was in this race. He was on row 4. Tony Bettenhausen sat alongside George Amick, of all people, in row 5. AJ Foyt, you would think that this may be his cup of tea. No, he was actually rather far back in the field. He was in row 7. You still had names like Pat Flattery, Jim Packard, Jim Davies, a lot of the names in IndyCar history that we're used to seeing that were kind of the builders of the series that led into the 60s, into the 70s, into the 80s. They were the engineers of these cars at the time when they brought them here to Daytona. Keep in mind, these are front engine roadsters.
Yeah, when they hit the wall, they hit it hard.
Yeah, this is not the rear engine kazoo looking cars that you're thinking of, though. These are the front engine Offenhauser roadsters.
Yeah, through all that, Shane Coogan, I think Spates, his tires have finally gone off. He was running those red tires, and Shane Coogan just got around him. He's now setting the sights on Watson. They were kind of Watson and Spates were swapping that position back and forth just about every lap through here. One final thought on that. You were talking about in like 2006 or so, they did do a test here. I think you can go look it up on YouTube and find like a really horrible quality, like 320p video. And you'll see like Kanan running the old 7-Eleven looking livery in that video. Assuming it still exists. I've seen it before. Don't know if it still exists on YouTube, because sometimes YouTube likes to eat videos. So check it out. Just searching like IndyCar 2006 test at Daytona.
There's actually another video that if you want to see something interesting that you would never think you'd see on the Daytona road course, or even on the oval for that matter. They had back about 10 years ago, they had a Ferrari day out here, and Ferrari brought one of their 2003, 2004 F1 cars, and they gave it to they gave it to the test driver and said, just go down and take it for a couple. I think he was beating the track record like with no problem whatsoever. And that was in a time that was, I think, in a F1 car that was 10 years old at the time. But it was pretty cool. There's some onboard video of that, as well as video from the stands. Check out Ferrari F1 car at Daytona. That's an interesting video.
Yeah, that I did not know about. Looks like Shane has gotten around Watson now, so he's setting his sights. Black tire's working out for Shane here.
Caleb on push to pass, and I can see why he's using it. He has a lap car in front of him, so he's trying to maximize the aero efficiency and get as much out of that engine as he can to help pull him in to Morris. He has now cut the lead down to under 3 seconds, or right at 3 seconds now. So the up front's starting to tighten up a little bit.
Dakota was just on the pit lane, so he's kind of the earliest of the cars that are making this final stop. I think we're going to have one more series of stops. They're probably going to change over to red tires and take it to the end. Although, let's see here. Looking at Dakota, because he's got 13 laps to go, he opted for the black tires to take him to the end of the race here.
You know, one that we haven't really talked about at all is P3. I mean, Steven Ritter's.
Yeah.
He's just been there by himself, turning laps. He's in that Schmidt-Peterson Aero McLaren colored views. What is that? Smokeless.
Yeah,
whatever.
I believe so.
Yeah, and Aero sponsorship. But yeah, he's just kind of sitting back there, just kind of hanging out and letting the race come to him. Very quiet podium.
Hey, I'm going to do a quick commercial break right now. We haven't given a shout out to our Schaeffer's Oil, Schaeffer's IndyCar Series here. So let's give them one shout out to go here.
There's two types of drivers out there. Drivers who know how to protect their investment, and drivers who don't. Car owners who know how to get more miles per gallon, and owners who don't. We're talking people who know their Schaeffer, and people who don't. Which one are you? From cars to trucks to diesel workhorses, whatever you drive, there's a Schaeffer synthetic oil for you. Do you know your Schaeffer? Ask for it at an automotive retailer near you.
All right, we are back here at Daytona. This is the RIL Schaeffer's IndyCar Series. Thanks to them, you saw that commercial there. And say, hey, anybody out there watching the race, you want to give a shout out in the chat here, let us know who you're watching, and we'll show them on camera. So we're waiting for this final pit stop here from kind of the top 10.
Everybody, kind of, yeah. From everybody.
Lucas Santos.
Isidro is in the pits. He's P4. Looks like a play and stop.
Yep. Yeah, he's doing well here. Making up a lot of ground, just kind of keeping his nose clean.
Bates and Donchek also in the pits, so they'll be good to the finish. Looks like Isidro is on the alt, so he is going to be hammered down all the way to the finish.
That is a long run, though. We saw about lap 7 or 8. Those red tires, that was the crossover point, it seemed like, on that first stint. And, he's got about 12 laps to go, so it's going to be a handful of those final 4 laps, I'd say. 4 or 5 laps.
So which of our 2 leaders is going to make the turn to pit road first? Isaac has passed it.
I wonder if Caleb will try to go long, and well, we'll see what everybody's going to do here. But if they're going to go long and change to red tires to the end here, Caleb certainly was quicker on the red tires because he was battling with Isaac with that, and he's dropped back with the black tires.
Christian Jasper rejoins after his final pit stop right in front of Caleb.
We got some Bensi fans in the chat here shouting out for tonight, so that's good. Obviously, the Bensi family always watching the races here on Race First when Caleb is in the race. Got the whole crew watching out there. Caleb running the Race First Fawn and Fanny livery. Got Jasper ahead of him, and I thought I saw Jasper maybe brush against that wall. Not what
besides the sponsor on Caleb's car, the most important thing there is the number 1.
That's right. 2 seasons in a row, he's ran the number 1.
Back to back, yep.
He has a lot to overcome this season.
Yes, I was about ready to say, this season's not over yet. There's a lot to go still. I'm excited that I'll get to rejoin all you guys at Indianapolis, and hopefully for the remainder of the season there on out. And I'm just real excited that this series has really grown by leaps and bounds. A lot of new names. Caleb is pitting, by the way.
In the pits.
This is very easily one of the top 5 best IndyCar leagues on all the entire iRacing service. So, if you're thinking about wanting to give this series a try, make sure that you apply to the league, join the Discord server, get to know your fellow drivers, and you can be a part of this too, provided you meet the license requirements and everything. But this is truly one of the great leagues on the series, or on the whole service.
And this season we're kind of running half and half, ovals and road courses. And one of our interesting ones, and I'm glad you're going to be back for this one, Gary, is we're going to be running Dover. Well, you laugh, but you know what the original choice was on that one, don't you?
Yeah, that was Bristol.
It was Bristol. So we're being saved from Bristol by having Dover on the schedule. At least Indy cars have been to Dover before. I guess you can probably pull out some history that Indy cars have been to Bristol, but
well, that's where Greg Ray developed the laser eye beams, and that's where he killed Eddie Cheever.
This is your Dover you're talking about, yeah.
Yes. If looks could kill, and they had that all on TV, man. I remember it was that year I went to go. It was 99, I think, 98. And I went to the Charlotte race, and they had a big, let's see if our leader comes in here. Nope, bypassing pit road. They had an autograph session at the Charlotte race, and I walked up to Greg Ray and gave his autograph, and I said, dude, if looks could kill, you would have been caught for murder on Eddie Cheever at Dover. And he goes, yeah, I know, I saw it. He got a kick out of it, and someone actually was going to take light of it and everything, but he was really pissed.
Yeah, I imagine. Caleb on push to pass. He's going to need a lot of help to get him up about 3 seconds to Isaac here. And he did opt for the black tires, the primary tires. So interesting strategy call. We'll see what Isaac ends up doing. I know you have an image of that Greg Ray thing, Gary, so we're going to have to pull that out. I know you posted it over on the Race First Discord at one point in time, so I'm going to fish that up and put that up during that race for everybody. during some of our long caution periods that we're going to have.
That inevitable long caution period, just like the real race. Yeah. No, everybody except for G-Force and Dallara hated that race.
Yeah,
G-Force and Dallara could count on bills the next morning for people when they needed replacement parts to make the next race.
That is right. Checking on our leader, Isaac Morris, coming out of the bus stop here. And we'll see if he ducks into the pits this time. I think with him pitting this late, he might try to go with those red tires. And we know that he commits really late. Here it is.
Here it is.
long pit lane here. It kind of feels like with that speed that they come in and then have to slam on the brakes there.
Nothing. Well, matter of fact, nothing like Dover, where these cars will have to get to 35 miles an hour.
Oh yeah, we ran that over in the Race First League, and I had a speeding penalty during that race, so I remember that well.
It's easy to do.
One of our previous competitors, Alex Van de Sant, also had a speeding penalty during that race because, 35-mile-an-hour pit lane in an IndyCar felt like you were stopping. So
Yeah.
Isaac, coming out of the pits, he's very clear of Caleb here. And Isaac has taken the red tires.
Yeah, so he is going to be go, go, go.
Yeah.
His entire last 9 laps. He has 8 push-to-passes and 9 laps to go, so he can use 1 a lap if he wants to now.
That's right. There's really 2 places you want to use it here, though. You want to use it before the bus stop and after the bus stop. So,
well, and I think leading up to the bus stop, I think you run out of push-to-pass just before the braking zone. Because you're on it that long. And I think the same thing about going into turn 1 once you get back onto the NASCAR oval. The only other place I've seen that happen, at least with these cars, is on the long stretches at Le Mans.
Yeah, this is... So, everybody was always wondering, how long are those push-to-passes for? So in IndyCar, they give them about 200 seconds, but ours are set for 10 pushes, 20 seconds each. So you waste a lot of it at a normal track. But here, you use all of it. So...
Yep.
And
it's a minimal horsepower gain too. It's only like 15-20 horsepower. There's not an awful lot, but it's enough.
It is enough. I think it's more like 40 horsepower. So
put that back up, yeah.
Yeah, and it was something that we were kind of talking about today. So they might be changing it in a couple of years when they bring in kind of a KERS kinetic energy recovery system into IndyCar in a couple more years. So we'll see what they end up doing with the push-to-pass there. But they're actually talking about something like where it might be 100 horsepower with that electric motor. So that'll be big. There was even some discussion of doing them on the ovals. I'm not sure about that.
Well, checking Reddit, of all places, 60 horsepower.
Right now or in the future?
Push-to-pass is a button that push gives the driver 60 horsepower.
Okay. Yeah, so it's
and they used to give that option in the old cars on the oval, which was you were telling me about it. It was just a different engine mapping, but it was
like a fuel mix kind of thing. Yeah, it was like, imagine if we had to run around in fuel mode 2 and then the push gave you fuel mode 1. So,
and speaking of push to pass, Isaac is on it right now.
Yeah, he's gonna be on it. That lead is up to 5 seconds now, so I think we should probably have a look other battles on the track. We've got Spates and Watson.
Coogan, Watson, and Spates is a pretty good battle right back there, yeah.
Yeah, Shane's leading this one now, so.
These 3, or at least these 2, Watson and Coogan, have been engaged in some type of battle all race long. These guys are going to be exhausted when they're done.
Yeah, I would say so. And Kresge's mentioning, Gary, that it's good to have the Golden God back in the booth here tonight.
That's good to be here. I like calling these IndyCar races with for Reddit and you guys and Schaeffer and here at Race First. So man, it's good to be back.
Yeah, it's definitely good. We missed you the last 3 races. You're going to be back in super late model territory next week, but here in Reddit we got an off week, and we'll have you back at the Indianapolis race.
Yeah, next week the American Sim Racing Club by Luke Oil and their Frito-Lay Super Late Model Series Championship Wednesday, next Wednesday for those guys. But they're going to crown a champion at the Nashville Speedway. So we'll be doing a simulcast. So when you're done watching Reddit, you could probably find the Super Late Model race all queued up and ready to go, and you can watch that next. Whoa, Shane going wide on turn 2 there.
Yeah, we were watching that on the screen, very wide. Watson tries to take advantage. So Spates is on the back tires back there, so we'll have to see. He's only got 1 push to pass left, so we'll have to see how all this works out.
Coogan 7, Watson 4. Oh, he's going to take a look at the inside of the Western Horseshoe.
Really deep.
Whoa,
really deep.
Locks him up.
Keeps it off the grass.
Shane just hits his marks, turns underneath him, gets the spot back. Back onto the racetrack.
I just noticed that Shane usually runs the 29, but here he's running the 9. I'm not sure about what who took his number. I'm not sure.
You see, I don't think I see a 29 on the lineup.
Yeah, not on the lineup here tonight, but yeah, interesting.
And maybe forgot to push the 2.
Could be.
Coogan on push to pass, so now he's looking to make some distance here.
I'm gonna go on board with Watson. Hey, that was cool. Let's go a different looking on board here. This one. This will work. Looking at the left front suspension.
Should be no surprise, Isaac, with the purple lap.
Oh, Shane going wide.
92 goes wide. Oh, wow. I wonder if it's because those reds are just trash now.
Yeah, they could be
Careful,
side by side.
Careful, careful, careful. Both these guys are very patient racers. Look for their spots.
And just
still a little time left too. You don't have to pull the pass off now. If you don't want to, he's going to take a look. Oh,
yeah, that was. I was
See,
just going to let
good.
the Bensi fans out there know that I'm keeping an eye on that battle. If there anything changes up there at the front, there is no change at the front at the moment. So Caleb just needs to bring this home in the podium and in that second spot, and that will
get some
get a
valuable
season
points
going. Yeah, Isaac isn't in the run for the championship. He's kind of a one-off here. He'll be around for the road courses a lot, although he's really liking the ovals right now.
See Watson getting back that lost track position via the draft, going into the bus stop. He'll probably take another look at
both on push to pass.
Yeah, there they are, push to pass, and he's going to take a look at them right around the tri-oval here, and then he's probably going to have a shot at it right there in turn 1 here, side by side now on pit in.
Tough to do with both of them running the push to pass though. Watson has the position at the line, but
I would say Watson has momentum by virtue of the draft, but once you pull out, here he goes, going to pull it off.
He makes it.
Going
makes
to
it
hold
work.
the spot. Nice, makes it work. Just
Little
keep
twitch
those tires
there by
underneath.
Shane.
There it is, yeah.
Bates is back there hoping his tires come in with those black tires.
Well, I understand that they're racing for a top 5 position, but the harder they race and use up those tires just opens up an opportunity for Spates to crawl right back into this battle, or in a worst case scenario, these two wreck each other. That was close.
I saw it.
And then all of a sudden it becomes Spates gets into a top 5 by virtually doing nothing, just making sure that he doesn't wreck. Oh, lap traffic there. I didn't see that lap traffic.
Yeah, that was Holler, I think.
Santos.
Oh, was it?
One of the NASA cars.
It was Holler. He's got no front. I was about to say front nose. That's one of the things you don't need to say because there's no rear nose. As Shane Coogan going inside into the bus stop. Makes that position so far. Thought he might overshoot the chicane a little bit, but he has that position. Shane on push to pass with the exit there. This is what it's going to be. Watson's going to want to get Shane to use his push to pass here because Watson has one less. 4 laps to go here. This is the best battle on the track. Nothing's really.
I think Shane kind of came into turn 1 a little hot there. Almost looked like his back end was getting ready to come around. At least that was my impression. That allows Watson to look right. He's right back on him again.
Yeah, this is part of the tires going off. Is that just more and more every lap. What it has to do with also, Gary, is, and this isn't exactly a realistic thing, but something with this new tire model with really, really long straightaways on the road courses, it just burns up the tires like none other. When we were thinking about running like Monza combined, that was one of the issues. The rear tires were like 350 degrees on the rear after 4 laps. So they were very skatey, very icy on the rear. Not as bad here, of course, but still, they're going to be coping with it a little bit. At Spa in the Formula Indy series, some drivers had issues for the same exact reason.
Oh, going up Eau Rouge.
Exactly, yeah. Just those long straightaways. It really burns up the tires. So Shane used a push to pass there for defensive reasons. Now they're even between Watson and Shane.
He goes wide. He
Oh,
goes
boy.
wide.
Yes,
Careful,
he
careful,
did.
careful, careful. Oh, okay, good. He kept it off the grass because I'm sure that a heavy foot at this point in the race on a
I'm
grass
gonna get.
surface is
Oh,
not
oh
going to
boy.
help
He's.
you. Stop, stop.
Oh, and
Oh,
he hit the concrete. That's what Spates was looking for, though. Yeah, he's gonna have to pull that in, I think. But we'll see. Shane's gonna be kicking himself.
yeah.
Yeah, that tire, that is not going to turn.
I got to tell you, I know he's gonna look back at this, and even if he doesn't want to watch the stream after this, and I don't blame him if he doesn't want to, but he's gonna be kicking himself on this one. And I just want to tell people out there in these cars, there is nothing wrong with being passed. I mean, if the lap's not you and you mess up and the guy's gonna get a run on you, just let him go, because chances are the guy in front of you might pull an episode like this and you get the position right back. Or you jump them in a pit stop, or you just, eventually get the car back underneath you, get some consistency back in your times, and you run the guy down and pass him on your own again. Just be patient. And some of these errors are forced errors. Other times they're not. But this one looked like he was trying to definitely hustle it a little bit more than he should have.
Yeah, he, I imagine, burned up those tires in that first turn, and then when he got to the horseshoe, those tires were gone at that point. And he might have tried to brake at the same spot he had been, but the grip just wasn't there anymore. Might have picked up some marbles with running wide there. As we are about a lap and a half away from the end here, Caleb has brought down that lead to 5.5 seconds, but that's a big ask in a lap and a half. He's trying, though.
Well, it's going to take it off for Isaac to give that type of time back.
Really good run here from Ritters, though, in that podium position. Also a good run from Isidro. And Watson, our turbo champion from the last season, bringing it in 5th so far. Keep it on track, though. There was a lapped car ahead of him. Final lap, white flag out for your Isaac Morris here. A little late for Isaac here, probably about, 2 or 3 a.m.? He's starting to do his winner jiggle there. I saw it.
The shuffle?
Yes.
Told him one of these days, those tires are going to be hot, and you're going to do it, and you're going to lose control, and you're going to regret doing that.
Me and you, both team owners, Gary, we have to keep our younger drivers from causing some bad moments for themselves. Calm down, bring it past the checkered flag. It's 4 seconds for Caleb there. Caleb's got, the red mist probably.
Right yeah, he's all business right now, to say the least. So. Everybody's on their last push to pass now, so we're done.
Yeah, we're done. I didn't see anybody running the apron unless they were, getting out of the way or whatever. So nobody's running the apron. Nobody's going to be DQ'd or anything or penalized, I don't think. Shane's going to bring it home in 10th, I think, though. Even with that, he made it back to the pits. Isaac Morris takes victory here.
Takes the win, yeah.
Yes,
Isaac actually one piece of criteria away from the Grand Slam. He got the fast lap, got the pole, got the win, but just did not lead all the laps.
But a really good run by Caleb here. Get his championship run back going here. Again, Isaac not really in that championship hunt. Already missed a couple races, so he might start thinking about it, though. We'll be right back here, and when we're back, we will do to our podium interviews. Hey, Isaac, this is Matt and Gary up in the booth. How's it going, man?
Yeah, not too bad. Thanks, guys. How's it going for you?
Well, pretty good. You gave us all a clinic here at Daytona. You had a good battle with Caleb there at the beginning. You took red tires instead of he took black tires there at the end, but you had it well covered. Tell us about your race and just your preparation here. Otherwise.
Am I back?
Yeah,
Hello?
I think we might have
Oh,
gone out for a second there. I don't know.
yeah, I unplugged my mic.
Too much excitement.
Yeah, my bad. But yeah, I completely missed what you guys said in that time.
Okay.
So
So we were just saying, tell us about your race. Tell us about. I know it was kind of a last minute decision for you to actually join this race, but you did, and you came in, put it on pole. I had a good battle with Caleb early on, but through your strategy, I think you gapped out, and you checked out.
yeah, the overall race, like the race was difficult. Like the tires were really tough to manage and handle, especially in the first stint because it was all about like how much can we control the car and how much we can push the car at the beginning. And with doing no practice, like I came in pretty much blind, so I'm pretty thankful that Dakota gave me some information on the tires beforehand. So shout out to him real quick. And but yeah, the race was fun. The little battle with Caleb was interesting. He obviously managed to save his tires a little bit better than I could in the first stint. And then the harder compound was just so much easier to use. So yeah, just full sent it on the harder compound and managed to pull off a little bit more of a gap to Caleb. And then on the last stint, just put on the reds and just went for fastest lap and then just chilled out.
Sounds good. Well, any final thoughts? Any thank yous? Any shout outs to sponsors? That kind of thing.
So I'd like to give a shout out to the Caleb and Stephen for rounding out the podium. Those guys ran a good race, especially for Stephen staying out of trouble with the incident that happened behind. And I'd just like to give a shout out to Apex Age Coaching, my coaching academy. And a shout out to you guys as well for broadcasting this race. And yeah, that's about it really. I'm running it solo, so I haven't really got any teams to shout out. So
sounds good. Well, I will see you on Saturday in the final Velocity Online Racing race of the season. So good luck there, and we'll see you then.
All right, awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Good night.
Have a good night.
You too, guys.
All right, we'll bring up our P2 position. Hey, Caleb, this is Matt and Gary up in the booth. Got a copy?
Yeah, gotcha.
Well, tell us about your race. Early on, it looked like you and Isaac, you were pretty close. But after that first pit stop, maybe those black tires, you just kind of did drift back a little bit. I don't know if there was lap traffic as part of that as well. I think you were trying some strategies by trying to undercut him as well, maybe, but I don't know. It just didn't quite work out. But I have to imagine that getting this podium position has to feel pretty good after kind of some bad luck you've had early in the season here in Reddit.
Sure, it's kind of been a frustrating few weeks in general. Just haven't really had the pace I was hoping for and everything. But yeah, the start was kind of crazy. I mean, there was a lot of guys pretty close to each other, and my main focus was just to save the rears on the reds, which ended up paying off pretty well at the end of the stint. So I was able to catch Isaac, and I just could not get by him. I was a lot faster than him, but he just kept that inside line and just outbreak me a little every time. But yeah, then the blacks, I just didn't really have the same pace. Like, it wasn't terrible, but did slowly fade away. And then when C did the reds and I went back to the blacks, he grew the gap a little more and then was able to close it in. But unfortunately, the race wasn't 3 laps longer.
Yeah, there was. Were you about to say something, Gary?
Nope.
Oh.
You'll keep going.
What I was about to say was you had a battle with, I think it was Holler in there, and he was on the black tires early on, and you had to face him down. That was probably surprising to you, and that probably told you that those the red tires were really going off in this race, and those black tires were going to be faster over the long run. So
yeah, for sure. So that was, I mean, I kind of wish it was like reds because I thought I did a pretty good job of saving them and felt faster on the reds. But overall, the blacks were definitely the preferred tire if you had to pick one. So, yeah, he came out. I mean, he was flying there. There was like that middle part of the stint where those are really, really advantageous. So,
yeah,
he thankfully kept him behind, and unfortunately, he took out Dakota and everything. But
yeah, there was something happened there.
Yeah, he missed the corner quite a few times with locking the brakes, but stayed away from that and then just tried to stay with Isaac. And like I said, though, after the last few weeks, that's very, very happy with that.
Yeah, I think we can, or you can get this, set up and try to get your championship back. Championship run. You're running the number 1 car 2 seasons in a row, and you can try to get that rally going and we're heading to Indianapolis not next week, but in 2 weeks' time. So I'm sure you're looking forward to that.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's definitely not gonna be easy, but I mean, still, this is a pretty long season overall, so
yeah,
can definitely have some good luck go my way or bad luck go the other guy's way, or just I guess see what happens. But not out of it. A win would definitely help a lot. So, but was close to that tonight. So hopefully soon.
Well, any final shout outs, any sponsors, anything like that? I know you have a lot of a contingent of fans in the broadcast watching it every week. So
I know my dad just came in and told me that when he said who you cheering for, or whatever, there's multiple people. So I want to thank all of you guys. I know grandparents, mom, dad, girlfriend, family. I think I saw a coworker. My dad saw a coworker in there too. So thanks to all you guys for tuning in and checking it out. And yeah, obviously thanks to you at Race First, and you guys always put on great broadcasts and stuff. So thanks to you guys, Fawn and Fanny. Check them out, fawnandfanny.com. Custom body care and all that. So yeah, obviously pretty happy to get a solid result. Definitely needed it.
Yeah, congrats on getting the podium there. Well, we'll see you back in a couple of weeks at Indianapolis here.
Thanks. See you.
So it should go without saying, really. I know he's upset or a little disappointed on the P2, but winning 1 championship's not easy. Winning 2 championships in a row is extremely not easy, and winning 3 championships in a row in IndyCar is virtually unheard of. Only 2 drivers in all the history of IndyCar have ever won more than 3 or more championships in a row. Most people forget Dario Franchitti did it when he first joined the Indy Racing League. And then while they were still in the middle of the battle of the unification or the Civil War, so to speak, Sebastian Bourdais did it 4 years in a row over on the champ car side. Beyond that, all the hundreds of other drivers that have stepped foot in an IndyCar in real life, those are the only 2 examples of someone that has won 3 in a row or more.
That's right. It is tough to do. Well, we got one more podium interview here, Gary. We got Steven Ritters.
Get him in here.
Hey, Steven. This is Matt and Gary up in the booth. Do I have a copy?
I got you, Matt. How you doing?
Good. Well, tell us about your race. You started 7th and quietly, got it into that podium position. You were kind of running on your own most of the race, though, but you brought it home, kept it clean, and that's what you got to do here.
Yeah, pretty much. I decided that it was a good idea to go with the primaries for first stint. Seeing as it'd probably be a nice little pack up front, so I'd be able to maintain some speed and in touch with the draft with everybody. And then I was assuming everybody was going to go on the alternates, so that would give me an advantage. I can go the alternates for the last stint, which worked out for me.
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
it was such a quiet race for you. I just at one point says, "Hey man, we got to give a shout out to this guy because we never really." The battle always seemed to be for first and second, or for fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth in the mid pack. But there was really not a battle around you. And I was like, we got late in the race. I'm like, well, we should give this guy a shout out because he's sitting there in P3. So was that more of a situation that you just followed your strategy and the race came to you and that's it, worked things out, or did you manage to work your way through some scenarios that otherwise would have caught some other people out?
No, that was my strategy from the beginning. Go primary, alternate. I got kind of lucky at the end of that first stint when 3, 4, and 5, I believe, crashed out with each other in turn 5 or 6, and I inherited third at that point, and pretty much she was, clear sailing from there.
Well, I always say the easiest place to pass someone is while they're stopped in the pit. So I like that strategy as well. So congrats on the P3 though, dude.
Hey, quick shout out though. I was gonna mention you run the number 66. That happens to be my number. I know the reason I run. I was just curious. Do you have any? Is that an interesting number to you, or any special reason for you running it?
Well, my number I like to run is 27 because I'm Canadian and from Montreal specifically. So Jacques Villeneuve is my.
Yeah. Okay.
There you go. Okay. Well.
I choose 66 because it was my next one, and again, being a French Canadian, going with Mario Lemieux, can't go wrong there.
Okay, well, I'm always curious why people pick their numbers. So,
okay, everybody home, that's a hockey player, okay, guys? As he played for the Pittsburgh Penguins. All right. I hope we brought everyone up to speed just enough that everyone knows who 66 is.
There you go.
Luckily, in the booth, we all knew.
Awesome.
All right. Well, take care, Stephen. Hey, next race is Indianapolis in 2 weeks. How are you feeling going there?
Pretty good. I'm usually pretty fast at Indianapolis. Again, I'll probably use the same strategy. Just try and keep my nose clean and bring it home quickly.
Well, it's a good strategy, and I hope it works out for you. We'll talk to you if you end up being on the podium there.
Awesome. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, have a good one.
So let me ask you, the number 99, that's obviously Greg Moore, and Wayne Gretzky. When you see 99, who would you think of first between those two? Do you think Greg Moore or would you think Gretzky? Most people
depends on points in my life because I actually played ice hockey, so I was a big hockey fan when I was younger. Nowadays, because I'm so into racing, I would probably think Greg Moore.
Yep.
Yeah.
I guess it all depends where you are at that. It's interesting thing of just being about Wayne Gretzky and Indianapolis and the tie in the auto racing.
The racers.
He played for the Indianapolis Racers, which was a minor league, actually part of the WHL, the World Hockey League, before it merged with the NHL. But he played here. This is where he got his start, right here in Indianapolis. Wayne Gretzky, the famous 99, got its debut here.
Yeah, and I might have even used the same locker in high school. So anyway,
he went to Ritter, right? Did he go to Ritter?
Well, we'll talk about that.
We'll talk about it later.
But let's say a final shout out. So next week we're going to be, or 2 weeks from now, we're going to be in Indianapolis for the 300. We're going to be running 120 laps there. But shout out to Schaeffer's Oil, and I'll take us out with a commercial from them.
Ever since I've switched to Schaeffer's Oil, I've never had a reason to even try anything else. And that's one thing that I'm proud about, is the fact that I can't tell you how good something else is because I know how good Schaeffer's Oil is. My engine builders, Tony and Glenn Clements, have said about the oil we run. They've told us that out of all the motors that they get and rebuild every year, ours looks the best, and a lot of that has to do with the oil that we run. One of the things that I love about Schaeffer's Oil is the fact that all of their reps are out in the field and at the racetracks with us, seeing what all the racers need, seeing what ideas we have or anything that we can improve on. And you just can't beat the customer service of having a rep for, you know, one of the main components of our race team, whether it's at our engine oil, transmission fluid, rear end oil, having somebody there that represents that brand and also gives us some support and also the knowledge that we need to be making the right calls and just helping us out with our entire racing program. It means a lot to our race team to have that. My name's Chris Ferguson and I drive the number 22 dirt late model. I've been using Schaeffer's Oil racing products since 2009. I absolutely have no doubt that we're using the best products that is possible for dirt late model racing.